Previously on the Home Series Makeover. Welcome back to my new home DIY series. In today's video, I'm sharing my formal living room DIY makeover. I wanted to try my hands at building picture frame molding or panel. Honestly, there's so many different names as well as so many different styles. First, I visited my local Home Depot for all of my tools and wood. This project took a few months because I just got so busy and honestly unmotivated. However, I finished. Is it just me, or have you ever started a project and just got unmotivated? Comment down below. The first thing I did was measure my wall to determine how many picture frame moldings would fit. And the molding that I'm using is a solid pine wood and cabinet trim molding, and it set me back at $736. I do want to mention that the budget for this goal was $300. The measurements for the molding are 8 feet on the sides and at the bottom are 2 feet. I'm also using the Ryobi 18-volt cordless AirStrike nail gun, and I love it. To measure my walls, I'm using the Stanley aluminum level for a cost of $12.97. One thing I noticed with each wall was that it was uneven. This made my job a little bit more challenging. However, I did the best that I could with what I had. To cut each trim, I used a miter box saw for a cost of $11.97. I honestly was intimidated by the table saw due to this being my first major DIY project. However, for my future projects, I think I'm ready. One tip that I would give is to make sure that you draw a line at the angles that you're needing to cut, because I made a lot of mistakes, but I eventually got it once I started drawing the lines as to where I needed to cut the 45-degree angle. Overall, once I got the hang of it, it became much easier and I became a lot faster. Now it's time to fill a million holes. I'm using the dry decks for a cost of $7.48. I like the fact that when you apply it to the wood, it goes on pink, but once it's dry, it's white. I then used sandpaper to ensure I had an even surface, and this cost me $5.28. To give me that seamless finish, I used the 1050 QD Quick Dry. This set me back at $3.49, and I bought this from Sherwin-Williams. One tip that I want to give is to have yourself a wet rag. That way you're not doing this with your fingers like I am here. However, later on you will see me using a wet rag, and that made the job so much better and less painful. Caulking was the most time consuming. It took me roughly between 30 to 45 minutes, and that's without dry time. But if you want that finished seamless desire, you cannot afford to skip this step. As you can see, I have textured walls, so the gaps were very noticeable. So if you have a flat surface, you may not have to use as much caulk as I'm using here. If you're enjoying this DIY living room makeover, please make sure you subscribe and comment down below on how you think I did. I let the caulk dry for 20 minutes as recommended. Now it's time to paint. Now I already had this paint on hand, so this cost me nothing. I also already had the paintbrush from past projects. This was the most satisfying part of the project, painting, because I knew that I was almost finished and I was going to be able to finally see the results. I did one coat of paint but noticed that I needed to go back in, so I went back in with a second coat of paint to get that, again, seamless finish desired. And it definitely made a world of a difference. Okay, so after months of hard work, I am finally finished with one project in my living room makeover. Again, this is the before, a boring living room. And this is the after. I absolutely love the final results. The grand total set me back at $323.34. So though I did not fall within my budget, I did spend a little over, I am still satisfied because when I researched how much this would cost me, it will cost between $200 to $600. And that's just to install it. I have all the tools so I can reuse my tools as well as my wood that I had left over for different DIY projects, so it was well worth the money. Comment down below what your thoughts are on the final results. I am very pleased with it and I will be sharing more DIY projects with you, so make sure you subscribe, like this video, and share it for anybody else who's interested in doing DIY projects at home. I'll see you all in the next video.